in business and marketing and social media. There's a lot to share. Those viral moments have made us really want to sit down and record this process because it's fleeting, it goes really quickly, and it doesn't happen to everyone. Welcome back to What Up Doe. I'm Aaliyah.
I'm Jazz.
And I'm Marco.
And in this episode, we are pulling back the curtain on what happens when you are a viral brand. And today we wanted to be super transparent with everybody and share the numbers of, the days, months leading up to a viral moment, that viral moment, and then the aftermath as well. Mm-hmm. I think what's interesting about virality, it's one, not sustainable, else it wouldn't be viral. Two, unpredictable. Again, else it wouldn't be viral. You can't really predict virality. And three, nobody ever can prepare you for what that moment is going to be like. Because Sugar Dough started off on TikTok, we've had just these massive amounts of exposure all of a sudden, and then it gets a little quiet, and then it's just kind of this cycle, which is just interesting to navigate as a business, a small business.
Yeah, and crazy to see too, like the correlation between every time we have a viral moment and the sales that happen, and then the sales that don't happen when we're not in a viral moment.
It's something to think about, or like is worth sharing. I think is that like a lot of people might consider that like, or think that a viral brand is always killing it, but when all your sales are based on virality, the rest of the time you're trying to figure out like how to make a regular sustainable business, but most of the time you're reacting to those viral moments. So you get a big viral moment and then you get like exposure and press and podcast options and you get all these things, and then like you're trying to take advantage of it, and then like when that peters out, you got to figure out like how to just like build a sustainable business. And it's easy in a lot of ways and also more challenging in other ways. So we'll get into it.
I mean, yeah, because with Sugar Dough, I mean, now like where the state of the business is, like if we have a viral moment, we really feel when we're not in a viral moment, and then we really feel when we are in a viral moment. Mm-hmm. But when you started Sugar Dough, just give me like a quick timeline of you started Sugar Dough and then you had a viral moment. Like how long after you started Sugar Dough did that viral moment happen?
Mm-hmm. So I spent the summer of 2020 while we were in lockdown building Sugar Dough, sending it out to friends, getting their feedback, and building the website. And then my official launch was September 2020. The first video that did a couple hundred views was December 2020. Mm-hmm. And then January 2021 is when we got our real major moment where the video had like 10 million plus views on it. Yeah. And it was
When was this?
This is in Puerto Rico.
I actually
January 2021.
Yeah, January 11th, 2021. Yeah. I actually pulled it up. Can we watch it really quick?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then we can like link it right here.
For all the people out there who like to wax themselves, this is the Sugar Wax by Veet. It literally does not hurt at all. You can wax anything, and I mean anything. The best part of it all is the sugar wax, so if you get it all over your floor or all over your legs or something, it comes off with water. It comes with a little jar and stick that you microwave. This is so easy to rinse off. You just put it under some warm water and it's clean. Mm-hmm. So easy to clean off. It's crazy.
What's crazy is this.
How many views does that have?
11 million views.
Okay.
Cool. That got 200.
Wait, before we go into that.
1,000 people to the site is what I'm saying.
Okay, 200,000 people to this. That's crazy.
Yeah.
200,000 people. Yeah.
So let's do leading up to that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, also, 2% of the people who came to the site from that bought something just from that video alone.
2%.
Yeah. Which is a pretty good conversion rate.
Yeah.
For
okay.
200,000.
So all of 2020 you spent
kind of prepping, building the brand, discovering who I was and what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And then early 2021, January 11th, that's when my son was born.
Aww.
2 years later, you had a viral moment. Can you tell me, how did you feel like seeing the notifications on your phone when you had that moment?
Well, let's talk about where we were and like how the video.
Yeah,
just
let
happened
me hear about
first.
that. Actually, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was building sugar dough solo, alone.
That's right. Yeah,
huh?
solo.
Unpack.
Please put that on the list to unpack, family therapist. I was emphasizing solo, alone. Yeah, I was building this brand just in my kitchen, packing the orders in my garage, and it was just really friends for the first few months, and then the odd person that stumbled across a makeshift ad on Facebook. And so the orders before that, Marco, do you have
You were
the
doing about
numbers?
$500 a day.
How many orders?
You were doing 10 to 15 orders a day.
Okay. So I was doing 10 to 15 orders a day from a mediocre video that went viral and friends, family, a few Facebook ads. And I was like, I mean, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
This is a little business that I have. I'm still contracting on the side. I'm a designer by trade, so I was doing some freelancing work. But I was like, oh, cool. I have something going on right now. And then Marco had also started a business around the time I had started Sugar Dough. And we were thinking of moving to Puerto Rico because we love the beach. And also there's a lot of incentives for entrepreneurs to move their business to Puerto Rico right now or at the time. And so we were like, okay, let's spend a couple weeks in Puerto Rico and just get a vibe, like a vibe check if this is a place that we want to move to and really like hone in on our businesses there. So we're in this pretty crappy Airbnb in San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
Is it San Jose?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just, scrolling on TikTok. I saw this video of this girl who did this review for Veet. And Veet has a strip sugar wax. And I was like, oh, this video is going viral. Let me use let me use this sound and just make the sugar dough version of this video. Just put together some videos that I've already filmed. I filmed a little bit on that Puerto Rico trip. And I was literally just I remember on the floor of this Airbnb that had no AC and we were just like sweating and very uncomfortable.
I was on work calls at like 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
She was making this video. Yeah.
So I'm just like on the floor, like editing this video, and then I posted. And then that evening, we're like, oh, I'm getting a few more sales than I usually am. And then we go to bed.
Yeah.
Because it's 11 p.m.
Right.
And I was like kind of excited. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
So we're like,
You're still doing drop party.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're asleep. I wake up at like 3 a.m. to like figure out why the AC is not as cool as it should be. And I'm like, oh, I just go check the time on her phone because her phone is like next to the bed. And I look at it and it's like 450 notifications from Shopify or something. And I was like,
Oh my God.
what? And I woke her up.
She shook me awake. And I was like, what's going on? It's like 4 a.m. And you're like, I think your video is going viral.
Yeah.
I was like, what? That's crazy. Let me go to sleep. Because I wasn't really processing it.
Yeah.
Also, we were away and I was packing orders in my garage.
Right.
And so for the time being, the 2-3 weeks we were away, I asked a friend to pack the orders in my garage. So like, a couple orders I was getting a day. And she was like, yeah, no problem. And I'm like, I don't think anything crazy is going to happen. Just like, put notifications on when an order comes. But yeah, it shouldn't be that hard.
Just kidding.
And then just getting 400 orders later.
No.
Oh no.
Okay, so we're doing 10 orders a day. And then
before we got back, you had 4,000 orders in that period of time. From when in the next 10 days, you had 4,000 orders come into the site.
So if you break that down by day, what is that?
400 orders a day, but it was more like 500 orders, 900 orders, 500 orders, 300 orders, 200 orders, 300 orders, 250, 200, 100, 100 for like
From 5 to 10 orders a day.
from
5 to 10 orders
Yeah.
a day to
To hundreds.
500
Yeah.
to 1,000, and then just one person, our friend in our garage packing orders.
So on January 11th, there was 10 orders coming through. January 12th, 400 orders.
500.
500 orders.
Yeah.
And then it was
And then it
just
doubled the next day.
And that was the moment where I knew Sugar Dough was a business.
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be my life for the next few years.
Yeah.
People want this. It's a huge hole and white space in the market. Okay, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm starting a business.
Were you like, okay, I'm quitting my contracting job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is where it's taken
yeah.
on.
So in February was like the last few contracts I had. And then by March, I was full-time Sugar Dough.
What was the operations like before going viral? Like, what was the day-to-day? What did a day look like?
Very, very much your stereotypical starting a brand in your garage type vibes. So me and a friend would order supplies to the house. We would have these giant trucks come to my garage and unload the pallets of jars, of supplies. And I would fill the jars and I would pack it up. I would print out the shipping labels. We did everything ourselves.
Yeah.
So it was very much, it was just exciting because I didn't think I could do anything like that.
Yeah.
Or have that exposure or have that impact. And it's so interesting looking back at now and being like, oh my God, we got 500 orders in one day on our website. That is just
Yeah. You
crazy.
got 4,200 orders that month, but it's only really 20 days.
Yeah.
That's
It's insane. But I didn't know. This was my first company. I was just like, oh, cool. Like we went viral.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Okay. I guess orders just like flood in when you have a business.
you hadn't joined yet.
I didn't join Sugar Dough for 2 more years.
Right. Okay. So then figuring out like all of the steps it took after. So like you went viral.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, okay, I'm getting all these orders. Like, was that consistent? So you're saying next 10 days, that's the orders. Like, so then
Yeah.
it just stayed that way
For
a while.
a month, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And during that trip, I was like, okay, regardless, the max amount of orders I probably could fill in 1 week was 80 to 100 orders. So I knew from my garage, I wasn't able to fill hundreds of
Right.
orders
Yeah.
a day. So that's when I was able to find a fulfillment center to be able to then eventually move all our product. I think within the next week, we got a truck to move all our product to the fulfillment center to be able to fulfill all these orders.
Yeah.
Was that your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we started like building like the beginning operations of the business.
Yeah.
Um,
It's so interesting being like me seeing the business now over the last year and a half. And like I'm picturing just how we run the business now. It's still so homegrown and so small and like we're a small business, but we have a fulfillment center. We have a manufacturing place. So like imagining you doing it out of your garage feels insane.
it was insane. And it was nice. And there's pros and cons. When you grow big enough, you're able to outsource a lot of the heavy lifting from the operation side of the business. So that means you have more freedom to travel, to work on different parts of the business, to working on the business instead of just being in the business.
Right.
But the perk of working in the business is I just felt so connected to all the customers because I was packing every order and writing handwritten notes to every order and like just like giving good energy to every order that went out. But it's also not sustainable for a business that has, I think, the potential that Sugar Dough has.
Yeah. And then you had to like hire within the company to like help because you were growing quick after that viral moment.
Yeah.
So then you started hiring people on to like help the company stay alive. And what was that like? What was that process like?
I tapped into the people around me that I knew because my background is not business. It's not entrepreneurship. I was just, a little designer, marketer at an agency. So my network wasn't huge at that point. I was also 24. So yeah, I just used friends. I used
You lean on Marco?
neighbors. No, actually, Marco didn't help as much. He was busy with his
I have
building his
my own
business.
I look back at Marco. He's all.
Marco didn't touch the business until, later because you had your own business.
Yeah.
I
Focus on
I just like
California.
introduced you to some people that I knew.
Yeah, Marco was my,
I was actually very much in the world that she was
Yes.
entering. Like I
Yeah.
was before that. I had been consulting with a lot of brands in the same beauty and consumer packaged goods industry, a lot of apparel stuff. So I knew all the advertising teams and all the I knew all the agencies, all the fulfillment centers, etc. So when she asked for an intro, I could find the right person for her. At least make an intro and let her figure out if that made sense. But I was running my own company too. It was kind of weird because we were just so busy with our own stuff that it was also COVID. COVID was a blessing for a lot of people and who wanted to start businesses because you didn't have the ability to go out and do anything. You couldn't go
Right.
anywhere. Yeah, we just worked. So we just built our businesses.
And the need for
Yeah.
things too. People were like, I can no longer go to my sugaring appointment or my waxing appointment. I need this. I need this product. Yeah.
And what else do I have to do?
Yeah.
Besides learn how to sugar.
And people are on social media. I mean, we're all trying to find things to do on social media. There was all these challenges to do, all these things, So having viral moments, I feel was happening a lot more back then.
Oh yeah.
And the impact was a lot bigger at the time too. I think now we could talk about this more. We still have viral moments now that aren't 11 million view videos, but it was a great viral video. It had a huge impact on the business at the time and kind of got things rolling. And you had to basically quit everything else you were doing and focus on that full time, where it was kind of still a hobby. You're still figuring out a lot of stuff and
Yeah. It was me and contractors for the first year and a half. And my biggest fear was employing people or just what it would mean to be a manager, because I was just not, my first job, it was just really tough for me psycho-emotionally. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, managing is a skill. And it's kind of put into people's hands that haven't built up the skill of how to manage people and think of their skills and grow their capacity and think of their emotions and well-being. And so I was like, oh man, now I have to lead. If I have to start a business, I have to, have a team of people to help me grow it. And so, yeah, that was just a lot of growing pains, because as somebody who doesn't like conflict, but have to let people know when they're doing well and when they're doing bad, to be able to keep the business going. It's just, yeah, it's a skill that I'm glad I have gotten better at. But at the time, me not approaching those conversations candidly led to some losses in the business, or, getting some of the kind of structure and the meat and potatoes of the business.
Yeah.
Starting off on a bad foot.
Yeah. I know you were still in Drop Party, but simultaneously as you're watching Aaliyah's brand take off, did you have any thoughts in your mind as that was happening, or were you just so invested in what you were doing, or were you oh shit, Aaliyah's also taking off right now? What was your feeling, though you had your own business going on? What was your feeling watching Aaliyah have this viral moment and all of a sudden go from I'm filling 5 to 15 orders a week to hundreds?
I think it's hard. You can feel multiple things at the same time. I was impressed that she had done this, and it was, but we didn't have, I don't think we really had a lot of time to reflect on it too much. My business was growing and doing well. Hers was too. And also I was feeling like we were running 2 businesses out of one house. Our house was nicknamed the Hustle House because we had my co-founder was living in our guest bedroom.
Oh, really?
We had other friends that had their own businesses that would come over and work out of our house during the day because like no kids, just before any of us had kids.
Yeah.
So we were all like, they would all come over and work during the day at our big like dining table, and
it was COVID time, so we could only see like a certain
group of
people.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So it was like, I don't know if I felt like, wow, she's killing it. I kind of felt like we're all like just grinding right now. And I mean, like 5,000 orders is impressive. It's a lot, but I think it became very clear to both of us that like a lot of orders and a lot of initial success, like what might feel like success doesn't necessarily mean like making a lot of money or like sustainable success. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
you can just fulfill these orders and be done with it, or you can like turn this into a business. And there's a lot of like uncertainty, I think, which is like, where is this going to go?
Yeah.
You know, she was saying she had to hire contractors and probably like should have hired a full-time employee sooner, but didn't know how to do that. And we made, like when I joined, we were like looking at a bunch of stuff in the business that was like, Aaliyah was hesitant to make certain decisions, and like those kind of manifested in like pretty significant challenges when I joined, especially when we were having our first child. Like there was a lot of stuff we had to deal with at the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, how else are you supposed to learn?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just, the thing is with viral moments, especially when you're a small business and then it just takes off, is it's like overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember it was
Pregnant.
a real identity shift.
Yeah.
Because I think I was used to being kind of the one in my head. In my head, this is how I saw myself, just kind of the quiet one. If I was in meetings at work, I'd be the one just taking notes. And for that all to shift. And now I'm like, oh, the face of the brand, the CEO, the founder. And I'm like, oh my God. And it's like overnight. I have to like grow this brand.
Yeah.
It took a while to be like, okay, like, oh, I have to like stand in this and in this new identity and really embrace it and not be scared to take on this role, because I am not a traditional company owner, founder, CEO.
Yeah.
I typically like to
What do you mean
observe,
by that?
because I think for me in my head, yeah, great question. I like to.
I'm like, yeah.
I remember talking to a group of people, of friends at dinner, and we went around and we were like, "Are you a follower or a leader? Are you a follower or a leader?" And I was like, I kind of been like a follower in most of my life. That's how I perceived it. Because the leaders are people that are, I don't know, that are just like very like outgoing, and they're like coordinating all these things. And the leaders that I've been under are the loudest in the room, the ones that speak the most, the ones that have the strongest opinions. And I wouldn't describe myself that way. I like to observe. I like to listen. I need to process something before I make a decision. I change my mind. So
Well, you're describing stereotypically male leadership dynamics. That's not like,
I was going to say, so Aaliyah for president.
yeah, Aaliyah's not a white man.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like when I think about like all these success stories that you read about, there's a lot of like white men that embody that, but there's also a lot of people who are like were followers until they stumbled into the thing that made them a leader. And what makes them a successful leader is that they're not just like, well, I need to talk a lot and I need to make decisions quickly. I need to like hire and fire. Like you're doing it your way. I don't know if that's like.
Well, I think it's interesting because with the introduction of social media and really TikTok for brands, I'm sure early influencers on YouTube and Instagram probably felt the same way as well, is you don't have to maybe be the loudest in the room to work your way up to influence people.
Yeah.
I influenced millions of people from a 15-second video that I made in my bathroom.
Yeah.
Teaching people how to sugar their underarms. And maybe out in the real world, you can't have that type of influence so quickly.
Yeah.
With maybe my personality. And so I think it's just interesting that you see more people in these positions, in these like leadership positions, because social media has given them a light and a space to speak and for people to resonate with that as well. But it's also like, I don't have as somebody I've had to label myself as a people pleaser, like as I work internally because of the business challenges. I've had to do a lot of internal work, and I'm like, okay, I love pleasing people. That doesn't work in business, because if you choose a person's feelings and emotions over, let's say, margin or profitability, your business is going to die over this person's feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
That's just hard to reconcile still for me to this day, like choosing business over a person. And so, but I do think that there are spaces for people like me to lead businesses. It's just not sure if there's like that support yet in society.
Yeah. It's interesting because like we had a lot of these conversations earlier. Like Leah would come to me and ask me for help, and I was like, I want to help you, but I don't have the time because I'm also running my own business. And a lot of the things that I said to you at the time, I think were really hard to hear, which was like, you got to be the leader your company needs, not what is comfortable for you. I think in some way you were looking to your husband to like maybe practically help you with some things in ways that you didn't have experience. But I'm like, I also have my own things I got to do. And some of the feedback I would give is like, this person isn't performing well. You have to tell them they're not performing well.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to do that. Well, you got to be specific. Well, I don't know how to be like,
Yeah.
and it's like, those are the hard conversations to have with your employee, for her to have with her employee.
Yeah.
Because also I give people the benefit of the doubt. In business, it can look very naive, because, only the people that are going to look out for my business is going to be me, because it's my business. Everyone else is just, they're doing their job. And so, yeah, that was just trying to navigate the people part of the business early on, especially working with people that I knew, with friends, with customers as well. We put out a call to hire a few customers as well. So, yeah, it's just like the people part is always the hardest part. It was definitely the hardest part for me then. I think it's easier now because I know I've learned from the mistakes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're like figuring out the supply chain, the operations, customer service. Again, you go from a small amount of orders a day to a crazy amount of orders a day. There's like customers that are like reaching out. Like I remember that. Like I remember they're like going back and just social and like looking at things to just kind of compare, because that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. Like, and just seeing customers like, where's my order? It's been this. And then the response is like, we're doing our best.
Yeah.
That like day to day, like figuring out again overnight how to do all these things, how to manage people, how to
get
work
all
with
these angry people that are used to Amazon delivery that comes the next day. And
yeah.
you're like, I'm literally doing this in my garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then after you had that viral moment and all this is like shifting and changing, Ulta is right before you join.
Yeah, so this is January 2021. It's her first viral moment. Then you had like
Multiple.
or 5 throughout
Oh my
the
gosh.
year.
Like it just kept going.
2021 was the year for brands to go viral on TikTok. It was so easy to get a viral video. I think we'd have 1 million plus view video every
I can tell you
month or week. Something
specifically with TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instagram videos did well in 2022 because they're trying to copy TikTok.
You had 43,000 orders
Oh my God.
A
in your
day?
first year. No.
Oh my
in the
God. I was
first year.
like, no.
But you had your first viral video, it had 4,000 orders in January. But then you had another viral video or two that happened in June where you had almost 7,000 orders that month.
I can't wait to compare it to
Yeah, I mean, it's
this
like
year.
not even close to like we don't have any virality.
I don't think that will
like
ever happen again.
It can't. It was like COVID, people got $1,200 of free money from the government and they were trapped in their house and they were looking to do like grooming at home. Like this can't happen again.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when we talk to like people like, oh, well, how do you like, Aaliyah needs to make more content. Like how can you model out, like forecast what your future will look like over the next 3 years with viral moments? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You can't model out virality.
Yeah.
Aaliyah can make 100 videos and none of them will go viral.
Exactly the same. I mean, the other portion of this is, it's like because of the time, like COVID, people were buying so much at the time, but also everyone was on the app. Everyone had so much time. Now everyone's back. Like life is resumed. People are back at work and all this stuff. So like people even on TikTok, like we went from 11 million views to 300 and something views, which is what like an average is on TikTok at least. It's like the app has changed so much. The algorithm doesn't favor us as much. It's like, where did that shift happen? That's a constant for trying to figure out when you're a viral brand.
Yeah. It's like, okay, we know that content resonates, but now we battle with the algorithm.
Yeah.
And the algorithm was in our favor in the early years. And now it's a little bit more pay to play.
Yeah.
It's very much, I mean, TikTok was like getting established in 2020.
Yeah, there was no way to like monetize using brands on TikTok.
There wasn't
during this
TikTok
time.
Shop. There weren't lives.
Wasn't
there
TikTok
weren't-
ads. There was no way for them to even tell whether this is a business account or whether this is a creator account. And so that was a beautiful time because they're not trying to like squeeze money out of small businesses.
So that was 2021. At the end of 2021, I think is when you went through like a Target accelerator and you went through and got connected to the buyer team at Ulta. And that was prepping for a 2022 launch, like fall 2022 into Ulta. So all of this viral stuff was like paving the way for the brand to be more, I don't know if I would say stable, but like solidify and diversify revenue channels. Like for all of 2021, the only revenue was from
D2C.
direct consumer. There
Yeah.
was no other way to make money. So maybe you can talk about the next year.
Yeah. 2022.
Yeah.
What did that look like? Because then at the end of 22, we got into Ulta.
2022, in terms of social and going viral, we were still going viral, but the time in between going viral was getting longer and longer. And that was the exact time that TikTok started implementing TikTok ads.
Right.
And we could tell all our video views were getting suppressed. I would do the exact same format that I would do the year prior, and it would just be crickets. And so we wanted to diversify anyway from all our sales coming from TikTok, essentially. So we started doing more paid ads on Facebook, Instagram, Google, and getting more eyes from maybe people that aren't on the app. So potentially an older audience. And that was less profitable for us, but did help us get more eyeballs on the brand for an Ulta launch. So 2022 was also a good year, but it was less organic. We relied more on the paid ad side of things.
Right.
Yeah. And so I joined at the end of 2022, right when we had already like sold a bunch of product into Ulta, and the launch was like first week of December or something, or last week of November. And it went like really well. And they were like, you're going nationwide in March, and we did all that stuff. But yeah, it was hard because the business was when I joined, the business was Aaliyah as the only person on salary, and everybody else was contractors, like agencies for advertising and marketing, an agency for all the like supply chain operation support, an agency for like, you had a couple contractors helping with like other marketing support and I don't know,
Customer
whatever.
service, just like random
So there's
social
no
media.
employees, and
There was no employees running a multi-million-dollar brand, which
Right.
that's when things needed to change because we were going into retail. when you're going into retail, one, your margins need to be stellar, your operations need to be even better, and you have very little room for mistakes. The past 2 years, we could make all the mistakes in the world because we had full control over a lot of things. And so I was also pregnant.
Yeah.
Like I was 8 months pregnant when we launched in Ulta. And
No, you were 9 months pregnant.
I was 9 months pregnant when we
launched in
launched in
December
Ulta.
of 2022.
The first
Yeah.
week
Yeah.
in Ulta was 2 weeks before our son was born, who was a week late.
You love to do big things when you're pregnant and or
I love
postpartum.
syncing things with the pregnancy postpartum
Yeah.
when I'm in my most vulnerable stage. But yeah, that's when Marco came in, and he's a good business operator in terms of how he thinks about everything as a whole, can make decisions like very quickly. And so, yeah, that was the end of 2022. And then a couple months into 2023, I think it was March 2023, we had a really big video go viral on TikTok. And it was me sharing that we had launched at Ulta Beauty and giving people a glimpse into what it's like in the hair removal aisle that's filled with all these legacy brands, and you should see something new, which is Sugar Dough in this aisle. And that just blew our Ulta Beauty sales out of the water
It was like
for
a
the year.
6 million views on that video or something.
Yeah, it
5.1.
wasn't even that. It was good, but it wasn't the largest video that we had. But I think that was the largest impact that a video has had.
Yeah, it
and
wasn't
on the business.
It also wasn't like the videos that went viral before were like the business was only on direct to consumer, so everybody was going to the site to buy.
Right.
But now when that video went viral in March, once we had rolled out nationwide at Ulta, we were already on Amazon. We had our own website, and we were on Ulta, and we were in Urban Outfitters as well.
Yeah.
So now a viral video drives people to a lot of different places.
Right.
And also, I think the impact of that video, it wasn't like 11 million views over a 3-week period, which is how the first video went. It was 6 million views over 5 months.
Right.
And so what was happening is we were going viral so much that we were selling out of all the inventory of our hero SKUs in like 80% of stores for 4 months. Now, this is 1,300 stores in Ulta. And our Pits and Pubes product, like the main product that we sell at Ulta, a $30 kit, which is a more accessible price point for people who can't maybe afford like a $70 kit on D2C. 80% of stores were out of stock from March till October, which was crazy.
From
which
one
just
video.
meant Ulta kept buying and buying and buying and buying product from us because the shelves were always empty. Every time they put something on the shelf, it sold out.
Yeah.
Which was like a great impact for the brand from like a perception perspective, but operationally we had no idea what to do.
What the impact is going to be.
I like, so like all this is happening. You're like, the growth is happening so quickly.
Yeah.
What's the first part of the business that you feel, either of you, because at this point you're involved, it's like, because I joined 6 months later, what part of the business do you feel like, if any, broke
All of
during this quick growth? All of it all
operations
at once?
for sure.
Yeah.
Operations was like, we made a terrible hire. We made one really bad hire.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily blame her. She wasn't good, or she wasn't experienced enough to know what to do. This person had come from like maybe a little more established company that had operational like routines in place, and she just had to operate those. We were working with an agency before, and we were transitioning out of the agency because their monthly retainer was like, they were like part-time work, and their retainer was significantly more than one full-time employee.
Right.
We just picked the wrong person. And that person ordered way too much inventory of the wrong stuff at the wrong time. And I hadn't run business at this scale before, like a CPG business at this scale before. So I didn't know how to even fact check this person.
Right.
They ordered a bunch of stuff. We took on a lot of debt for the wrong inventory, which we're moving through now. Like, we've moved through it, but like a lot of the financial challenges we've had in the last 18 months stemmed from the one wrong person we hired this person in June and we fired them in September, and we're still dealing with those. It was a 3-month hire of the wrong person. And it still hurts us today.
A year and a half later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, people always say, oh, hiring the right person is like, they're talking about it in like the positive perspective. I think there's like a risk. Like there's a risk perspective you need to take too. Is like hiring the wrong person in a position where they're making decisions that impact your finances. That's actually more important, because if we had hired JJ, who's our supply chain
Shout out JJ.
director, he was
Shout out
actually
JJ.
at the agency.
He's literally saving us money right now.
JJ worked at the agency that we were paying this high retainer for. We couldn't afford to keep that going, but eventually JJ had left that agency, and he hadn't said anything to me, but maybe if I had looked a little more closely, he probably would have been like, I want to join. I'll take this role.
Yeah.
But he left, and then we hired the wrong person. We fired that person. We went through all this drama trying to figure all this out. And eventually JJ came in, and like the day he came in, everything changed. Like operationally, it's just like having somebody who's like been around the block. Mm-hmm. Just like, I can take my eye off of that stuff now a little bit and focus on other parts of the business.
As a viral brand too, you have to make decisions so quickly because things change overnight. That's the theme here.
Another piece here is that there are 2 parts to a business, any business, I think, but specifically like it's exaggerated in a viral brand is that like you have marketing, which drives revenue, and you have operations, which saves money.
Yeah.
And if you hire an operations person that can't save you money, like an operations person always needs to be restrained.
Yeah.
Like, do I need to make this order? Can I wait a week? Can I call my vendor and say I'll pay you 4 days later? Like, they're trying to like push payments out. They're trying to like spend as little money as possible at all times and buy exactly what you need when you need it and nothing more.
Yeah.
Because that's where you get your profit.
Yeah, our cash calls every time JJ's like, but do we need that? Do we need to do that?
Yeah.
Like, it's like every time trying to save it. And I love it.
So like you had driven, I would say there was like almost no operational like foundation inside of Sugar Dough when it went viral, and it was all marketing. And there was so much organic marketing and growth that it covered all the mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we went from being so viral to less viral, still having some viral moments with Ulta, but now it's like we needed operations to be really efficient, and we like overhired, we hired the wrong people. There's like a lot of things that happened. So then like we had still just enough virality to like buffer some of that poor operational. And now like I think we're in a better position. We're like not as viral. That's probably not coming back in the way that it was before.
Yeah.
But like operations are a lot tighter.
Yeah.
We're still like climbing our way out of the mistakes we've made. But
Yeah. And I think, I mean, just from my being with Sugar Dough for the last year and a half and what I've like learned now, at least, is like having operations like covered the way that JJ has it makes it so much easier, because especially as a viral brand, when you're not going viral anymore, like when not having that virality like every single month, organic marketing is like we're constantly trying to figure out, like that falls under me and Aaliyah, and so we're constantly trying to figure out how what to do and that like in that space. And then paid marketing, you know, we can reuse all of the content that we're using for paid marketing and paid ads, but
then you're paying to show it to somebody.
we're paying to show it to people. So, and obviously we want to do this organically, like as much as we can. A, we're not spending dollars, you know, B, that's the way that you built the business. So with operations being so covered, it makes it easier for us to be like, okay, not easier, but it makes that safety feel more like, okay, well, we're not also losing money at the same time because JJ's not doing that. So
No, and at the same time too, I had a baby. And so I was not cranking out content like I was.
You're doing it every day before.
Multiple times a day. At one point of time I was making 3 videos on TikTok a day.
So do you think TikTok algorithm noticed that you weren't pumping out videos, and so it
I think I couldn't get ahead of the algorithm because I wasn't making content as consistently. And so maybe if I was still cranking out like 3 videos a day or something, I would notice like, oh, okay, I need to make a secondary account and like now have a creator account, and then this can be the business, like, you know, be ahead of the changes.
Also, like, you with a child, you can't make that much content.
No.
And the algorithm really rewards like consistency, and it rewards you making content. I think also like from your phone. Like, I think there's like a lot of stuff that like TikTok wanted you to make content for. And if you couldn't do that, then it was like, well, I'm not like, and also they introduced ads, they introduced create like business
it all
accounts.
happened at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't even worth trying to attack the algorithm or try to
But this is
win.
part of the viral brand thing, right? Like if you're if you're a solo founder and the creator of a viral brand, your job, unfortunately, needs to be the content team. You are the content team. You just need to like build a system around you to just continually put out content. You can't focus on operations. You can't focus on advertising. You can't focus on product. You need to make content all the time. And that's not sustainable unless you're already independently successful as an influencer or a creator.
Right.
And then like you have, I mean, I know our friends, we know them a bit. Donna's Recipe. We know their team through the Alta Accelerator program. And Tabitha Brown, she's already successful creator, influencer, and they started Donna's Recipe together with Gina, who runs the operations side. And that's like probably a pretty great, she's already making, like Tabitha's already making content and Gina's running the business, and they have the product, they did the product together, and now like that is the split of responsibilities for the most part. We don't have that. So it's like you had to do the product, do the marketing, do the operations, do the finance. You had to do all of that until I was able to join. And even then, now it's like, even if you were to spend all day making 3 pieces of content a day, it can't have the impact it used to have. So now
Also,
how do you transition from a viral brand to a sustainable, regular brand?
So I've changed and grown. I don't want to make 3 pieces of TikTok content a day because
But it doesn't matter. You have to do it anyways.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting. When you're viral, you are thrust, all these things and expectations are thrust on you. And so I didn't realize this when I was making my little pieces of content in Puerto Rico, that I am now going to be the face of the business, that this is something that needs to be, my content needs to be sustained for multiple years. Like if we ever sell the business, I still probably need to be attached to it because we were viral with my face attached to the brand.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to reconcile after being viral as well. And we still have our moments. We still have 500,000 followers on TikTok. And so we still have that initial following, but now it's exactly right. We will never have that crazy virality that we had. We'll have like little bumps here and there, but now it's more interesting to us to build a sustainable business, a profitable business, and one that can make a lasting impact in the hair removal space.
Yeah. While still trying to have viral moments. Yeah.
Yeah. For the business side of things. It's great financially.
And we've tested things. We've tested like other people on the team making content. We've tested posting every single day with other creators. And even we've tested like posting you every day. And it's just shifted on TikTok. Like TikTok is just a whole.
Well, another transition was that we've recognized that the early stuff was like about sugaring and like the value of the product. And it was like interesting for people to see that. And then the content that went viral started shifting towards like a video of you reacting to getting into Ulta, a video of you in Ulta, a video of you reacting to the Shark Tank episode, a video of like all of these things now are about you. The viral brand is you, not the product anymore.
Yeah.
And now it's like, partially why we're doing this podcast is like people are actually interested in seeing the team behind a product and a viral sensation more than, I mean, anybody can go like, oh, Sugar Dough exists now. We're not novel in the market anymore. It's like we exist. We're on a retail shelf nationwide. People can buy our product. People have seen or heard of our product.
Yeah.
Now it's like, what is the thing that connects them to us to keep coming back?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I think also, this is just a random thought. going viral in the pandemic, there's not that. I think it's hard to know what the impact really is, like what it's like to have millions of people see your content and you're still like in the same house filming in the same bathroom. Until we went out in 2021 when we could go out a little bit more and see the world a bit. And we would go to a restaurant and people would see me and be like, "Oh, are you the sugaring girl?" Or we'd go to get ice cream and people would be like, "Sugar dough?" And you're like, I was like, wait, what? You like people, a lot of people have.
Our server at Uchi. Like we went to Uchi. Uchi's one of my favorite restaurants in Austin. And
has a menu in his phone.
Yeah, I got it locked down. But like the server came up to us. She's like, "I've seen you before. Are you on TikTok? I think you like." And Leah's like, and she's like wearing sweats.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh shoot, do I have to like now dress up when I leave the house?"
Yeah,
but I think that's where creating content, you just see the power of creating something and putting it out there, and I think also that's what has encouraged us to have this podcast is we're like, one, anybody can make content. And two, when you've actually been in the trenches in business and marketing and social media, there's a lot to share.
Yeah.
And those viral moments have made us really want to sit down and record this process because it's fleeting. It goes really quickly and it doesn't happen to everyone.
Yeah. And I think people that are like, maybe assume like if you go viral and you take off that it's always on the up and up because you had such a huge viral moment.
And everything's good from there.
And everything's
it's mostly
good from
recovering
there.
from the up.
Yeah.
It's like we were up and now we're down and we need to get back up.
Yeah. Like how do we exactly.
Yeah.
Recovering is great. Last piece I want to say to kind of like tie it up because I just thought about this, but like our podcast is so much about like the creatives, the entrepreneurs, the founders that are like reshaping our culture, especially through the social lens that we're all living in. And you talked about you as a manager and as a leader and how you're different. But that's why we're doing this podcast, because you are different and how you lead the team. And though we have so many like growing pains, again, like the company, divinely timed, everything is so like exactly where we need to be. And I genuinely think it's because of the type of leadership that we have. In both of you, because you're the founder, CEO, but you guys are like a duo in how the company is ran. And so you're like you guys are the OG shapeshifters, reshaper shifters.
We're the reshaper shifters.
What up, though? Reshaper shifters.
Culture reshaper shifters.
Before we sign out, should we do a would you rather?
Yes. Okay.
Also, if you're going viral, keep it up. It's really hard.
Yeah. Take advantage of that moment because it's fleeting.
Yeah. Also, don't delay figuring out like a sustainable, profitable operations because that will help you when you're not as viral.
Yeah.
Or anticipating going viral as well. And I think what's important is everything's a cycle. So you can't continue to be viral consistently. And so know that there's normally 3 steps. There's that virality, that expansion, there's consolidating all that growth, and then there's reflecting on the process. And all those are equally as important as that actual viral moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather, hair removal edition? Would you rather have long, luscious locks that sweep the floor coming from your nose?
Ew.
Or
No.
have unmanageably thick facial hair that's resistant to all methods of grooming?
Are you joking?
Okay, this is actually easy for Marco.
Yeah, I'll think of facial hair.
Yeah, I'm like, is this?
So, but you, as you,
You don't count in this.
But there's no option for her.
Yeah.
It's
He
either a beard.
hair everywhere.
it's either
For her, it's either a
full
beard or like 2 long wispy strands of facial hair from.
Not only is it a beard, it's unmanageably thick
Yes.
facial hair, so I can't even do anything about
No.
it.
Yeah, you're just a man.
Can I do something about my nose hairs?
You can
It doesn't
you
say.
can braid it. You
Why? I can't cut it?
can- no, it sweeps the floor. So you're going with mustache.
I think I'm gonna.
It's nose hair. It's not a mustache.
Yeah, it's nose hair.
It's
Yeah.
coming out of your nose.
Yeah.
You can shape them into a
I
mustache.
really don't know how to answer this. I'm having a really hard time because I'm trying. My thought was, I don't know. I don't have a thought. I'm stressed. For the sake of just answering nose hairs.
What about you, Leah?
I think I would do the facial hair.
Yeah.
Unmanageably thick facial hair.
Yeah, I think so too, actually.
You changed your mind?
Yeah, I do.
I feel like we can make some good viral content with that.
But you can't even sugar it.
I could try.
You can't though. It's
But I could
unmanageable.
but I could get close. Like sugaring would get closest to making it manageable.
Dang, the ultimate test.
Would I do this to be viral? I'll do anything. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So on the next episode, you'll see us with full facial
No.
hair.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna wish upon
Not
a star.
me.
Marco wishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day, babe.
Look at
One
this
day.
baby face.
This has been the What Up Doe podcast. Thanks for joining us today, friends.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.